Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toy Geeks. My name is Jake Laffelter from Geek Dad Life.
And I'm Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy.
And we're here to dive into your favorite toy lines 1 year at a time. And we have arrived at our first split episode, 1996 for Star Wars Power of the Force 2 from Kenner. And it's not necessarily a part 2, but a offshoot in
Side
1990.
quest, yeah.
Side quest, there it is. For Shadows of the Empire, the subline in 1996. And if we were going to do a subline, we needed the sublime thoughts.
He thought about that all day.
It just came to me, I swear. Ryan Doell, welcome to the show yet again. Third time, I think.
Yeah. Third
well,
time,
on his way to the Five Timers Club.
Third Timers Club, yeah.
Wow, am I gonna have to get a robe for the 5th time?
We'll get one ready. We'll get one ready.
Like that would be awesome. I would love that. Now you're gonna make me wait like 2 years.
Yeah.
It won't
2 years from now, yeah.
But it won't be like a robe. It'll be like a starter jacket, like a members only jacket, like a little patch or something.
Just like it's just like an apron that you'd see at Walmart. That's all it is. I'd still wear it proudly.
Right? With pride. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Life is crazy busy.
Yeah. Are you allowed to say what you're working on, or just you say you're working on something?
I can say what I'm working on. Yeah, because the trailer's out, so we can talk. I can talk a little bit about it, but it's working on Fantastic Four for, the latest Marvel foray. I guess it's not the latest. Thunderbolts is going to be the next one, I guess.
You're in that movie too.
I am in that movie, apparently. And then that's I finally get my own selfie series.
Right.
Dan's got his. I'm getting mine. This is very exciting.
Dan is it's not a joke. It's just a lot of G.I. Joes look like you, Dan, for some reason. Yes. And now Doell has a Marvel Legends figure, the David Harbour.
Yeah.
But it looks a lot like you.
So when Stranger Things first came out, people would see me from a distance and they'd see them squint and not realizing what they're doing. And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So like, especially if we were at a convention and people would just be like, dude, from like once I got up close, but from back there, I thought you were David Harbour. Like I thought you were the guy from Stranger Things. And I was like, what? And I was like, I didn't see it. And then I looked at a picture of him, and I looked at me, looked at him, I looked at me, and I was like, we could be brothers.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally.
We might be somewhere down the
there could be a tree somewhere in the tree there. 23andMe is going under, so you can't check it now, but I'm sure there's something maybe there you could.
I'm going to buy 23andMe, and then I'll just root through and see if I can go through everyone's DNA and check it. Or maybe I'll be like Mr. Sinister from X-Men, just collect everyone's DNA and create a new.
Start cloning, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all know who would be first on Bill's list.
Yeah.
So excited. I mean, you've been on I think Motu episode, and what's it Mask episode?
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, that's right, G.I. Joe. Where you proclaimed like any snow character, a Canadian character.
That's right.
Yes.
And kind of, been beefing with another Canadian toy tuber, Ken from Toy Connections over this.
Yeah. It's just Ken. Ken's always trying to start beefs all the time. So take that all with a grain of salt. Though when I saw him at the toy show, like last month, I ripped into him. So
but when Dan and I talked about doing a Power of the Force 2 series, I feel like, Dollars has got to come on to one of these episodes just because you are an unabashed Star Wars fan, unabashed Star Wars toy collector. One of the, I guess when people kind of dump on Star Wars, you're one of the, beacons of hope and light within the Star Wars collecting universe. So I just I'd have to assume Power of the Force 2 looms large for you. Is that true?
Yeah, it's right up there with X-Men, where you go from playing with toys to collecting toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say X-Men was probably the biggest factor of that. And then, of course, Power of the Force 2 wasn't that far behind Toy Biz's X-Men.
Yeah.
And then that just completely reignited everything. Like it was already simmering, because in the early 90s, like that's when I started like reading novels, and it's because of Star Wars novels.
Yeah.
Right. And then I started getting used. So it's already like they were already prepping us. I'm trying to think of, make sure I don't use another word, but yeah, they were prepping us to get ready for the prequels, more or less. Right. So they were just trying to make sure that Star Wars was relevant again, and people were thinking about it, and people almost at that time getting nostalgic for the original trilogy again already, because it was like 10 years since Return of the Jedi, I believe. So I remember just like getting into that, like, wow, I'm going to start getting the old figures again, because they were slightly more affordable back then. So I got a bunch of them then that I never had.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious about that, because Dan and I talked about, like, for at least stateside, it was kind of hard to find the vintage stuff. So you didn't have eBay, toy stores, or whatever. They just wasn't as common back then.
Flea markets.
So it was tougher. But yeah, but like, how was the Canadian scene? Was it easier to find vintage stuff? I'm guessing, or wasn't it?
I feel like it was, because I feel like anytime you'd go, especially like in the early 90s, you could go to the flea market and you could get Scareglows, in a bin for $1, right? Like it was that time, right? And Star Wars was no different. So that's how I was picking up like B-wing pilots and Yak Face, and because again, Yak Face wasn't super rare up here.
Yeah, Canada had
right.
Them, yeah.
The only thing that I couldn't find there that I wanted to get were those last two Ewoks that came out in Power of the Force 1, right? Because I was a big Ewoks kid, right? And Dulax, couldn't find Dulax for the life. I still can't find any, let alone affordable ones when I do. So but I mean, like, but that, it was funny. Like, it wasn't until I feel like Power of the Force 2 dropped, that's when you started to really see a skyrocket in vintage prices.
Yeah.
Right? Because people got excited about it again, and people started treating Star Wars like an investment and not like a collectible.
Yes.
Right? Like and that was like Power of the Force 2. I keep this on card.
I went and bought more figures for today's episode, but
yeah,
I finally found a Boba Fett.
Nice.
$2.
Just one?
Oh,
hey,
I didn't know that was an option.
I still think this is one of the best 3POs ever made.
We agree.
We talked about it.
To an extent, yes, yeah.
To an extent, I said one of the, not the best one.
Yes,
one of the.
Yeah,
he's pretty buff.
Well, he's doing this. Right, he's doing his
exactly. He's got the. I think Dan correctly pointed out it's the.
It's Vince McMahon walking to the ring.
No chance.
Yeah, he's got the power stance going. Arms are swinging.
Don't ruin this for me.
But it's like why I could literally go, like, I got a haircut today and stop by the toy shop and get a Jedi Luke for $3, and it's just because so many people, to your point, look at that.
Dude,
loaded.
I love that.
Flush with Fets.
I showed it off last episode. We got the 3 carded, and then I had 9 loose.
Yes.
Whoops.
I still like that Boba Fett figure too, to be honest.
It's just a good Boba Fett. Like, we're kind of recording ahead here in prep for Celebration, and we talked about that Boba Fett last episode, and it's a darn good Boba Fett, like in retrospect.
So Ryan, when did you get that Wave 1? Where did you first hear about Power of the Force? TV ad, magazine, whatever, and then when did you actually get that first? Did you get that first wave when it was released?
So I found out through Wizard.
Okay, I think that's where I found out about it as well. Yep.
That was Wizard Magazine. That was like the first place I found out about him. And it was weird because you just got it. Like, yes, Luke was jacked, but at my excitement for it was like unparalleled because it was new Star Wars figures.
Yes.
And, I've, if you go back on Toy Anxiety, I do this little thing called Flippin' Star Wars, where I flip through Star Wars magazines from the 90s.
Love those.
And a lot of it talks about the history of those toys in particular. and about how excited they were about like, we have sculpted capes like that other guy. We're up there now. And they're talking about how they had to compete with X-Men and Batman and Spawn and that's why they were the way they were. I'm sure you guys got all into that last episode. And, you know, it was still very exciting, which then led to what we're getting into, like Shadows of the Empire, where things were completely new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Well, and yeah, go ahead.
That's what's exciting about 1996 is, and we talked about this on the part 1, where we with Dagobah Luke, we had the first new version of a character in the toy line, right? Everything up to that point there was a version of that in the original toy line. This is the first time we got Luke in his Dagobah look. And then you talk about this subline, this spinoff of Shadows of the Empire, just like, oh, this is a whole new thing, which is exciting.
And it was huge. The rollout was massive.
It
like,
is.
I know we were joking about like, don't get too into it and stuff like that, but I mean, like,
no, get into it. So this is, I love you have the CD because I want to talk about it all.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Some episodes haven't aired yet. We've only released one episode when we've recorded this, but I don't know if you've heard that Dan Larson hates all of the extended universe stuff of this era.
I'm not a fan.
Get this.
No Zahn books, no. So where do you stand on that?
It's fine. Hey, where do I stand on the EU? Okay, so I think the EU, just like anything that they do with like Star Wars comics, novels, video games, all that stuff, to me, that is separate. Enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. But is it canon? Not to me.
Not to me.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I can't even go so far as to say that I hate the stuff because I never like read it. I never looked at it, and it was just like, that's not important to me, you know?
I'm just being hyperbolic.
And that's totally fair. I think I honestly think it was there at that those novels were there for me at that time because it was something new. And I at that point I was already kind of feeling that fever of like, oh, I kind of like Star Wars again.
Hey,
and so I was just consuming, and that's all there was the novels. So I love the covers.
I bought all the comics. I had all those comics. I played the N64 game, all of that stuff. You know, I was definitely in it. It was just like, it's neat to have new Star Wars stuff, but Dash Rendar is never going to be in my Star Wars universe unless he shows up in a movie.
Right. That's totally fair. And I agree with that.
Let's talk. So Shadows of the Empire, 1996. It is a huge rollout. So Dan, you said for you bought all the comics, you were kind of into it, or at least took part.
I was following it. I had to be able to talk about it and see what it was, and maybe it was going to be good. I don't know. You know, even if I didn't accept it as canon and part of the universe, it might still have been a good story.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's how you should go into EU, to be honest.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right. And
is
if
it
that's
not
your canon? Well, if it's your canon,
sure.
I'm a very firm believer that Star Wars headcanon is important in Star Wars. I think it should be up to you and your imagination to fill in those gaps that they kind of hint at.
Yeah.
And I really am not a fan when novels and comics and video games try to fill in those gaps and say, no, this is it.
It's crazy to me because obviously I was aware of Star Wars before the prequels, before all of this other stuff, you know, even before most of the extended universe stuff. And that's why I don't really accept a lot of it, because I already had the full story had already been told, you know, by the time I was 83, by the time I was 8 years old, the whole story was done.
Yeah.
You know, so anything else is just this sort of like postscript, maybe this happened, maybe it didn't, you know, like you'd really have to pull a timeline together to say, did issue 26 of Star Wars at Marvel happen during this thing? Wasn't he somewhere else? You know, like it's hard to put all that together in one place. And so much of it just became, you know, disposable to me. So I already had my preconceptions about how did the Darth Vader Anakin thing happen? When did it happen? Where did his costume come from? Why does he have a skull face mask? And so when the prequels hits and starts to codify some of that stuff, it's just like, that's not who I thought that character was.
Yeah.
That's not where I thought that thing came from, you know? And then the EU just takes it even further. I don't want to hear that.
Right. But I remember a lot of people having backlash with the prequels because of exactly that, right? We had, you know, a decade of us playing with toys and imagining what everything was, and it doesn't always line up, and that's fine. Yeah. Right. But I mean, that happens. Like I went in, I remember before even episode 2 came out, and it was after episode 1, and I was like, I can't wait to see these super commandos, which was Boba Fett before episode 2. Like that's how we knew him, through Bantha tracks and all that stuff. Was like he was a super commando. Like there was an army of these guys and fighting Jedis and stuff. Like that's kind of what we were kind of taught or told. As far as his origin goes, right? And it's and then that wasn't it at all. Like not even
right.
But and I guess for me, I'm a bit younger, and we talked about this in our first episode of, for me, I was, my whole youth, my whole being born to, this toy line. I grew up in the dark ages of Star Wars, as the movies, the trilogy had already happened, and it was kind of, handed down to me like by my dad, whatever. And also friends that had, I was the oldest, but friends that had older brothers or siblings or whatever, or older cousins. And so for me, this extended universe stuff, the Zahn books, this Shadows of the Empire, I think I was more receptive to it as like, oh, that's just the story, because even the original trilogy was like, oh, this is the story. I'm being given this story. I'm being told things about this story because I'd only seen the first movie. And then the rest of the fill-in was like my dad saying, well, this is the Force. And, oh, where is the Force? Well, it's, it's just this. And so like most of my understanding of Star Wars was from people telling me, or filling in the gaps of stuff, because all we had was the first movie taped off of HBO. And it wasn't until much later that we got the trilogy on tape. And like my first lived in experience was the movie off of tape, the first one, and then going on the Star Tours ride. That was my official headcanon of what I'd seen. Nice. Everything else was people just telling me what happened in Empire, what happened in Jedi. And so when people were telling me what happened in the books, and when this came out, when someone said, oh, it's going to be what happens in between Empire and Jedi, I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, because I guess there is some time, Leia, how did she get in the Bosch disguise? Like, what are they doing? So I was like, cool, this makes sense. There's time in there and they're filling it in. I'm like, I'm here. This is cool by me. So I was kind of along for the ride, and I dug it. I was excited about it.
Yeah. That was me too. Same as, well, not exactly. I saw all my movies, but it was like, but again, I was along for that ride of just like, you know what, let's just have fun with this. And I think that's what a lot of Star Wars fans sometimes forget.
Yes.
Have fun, man. This is all fun.
Remember fun.
Remember fun? It still is all of that. Like I get it. Sometimes moped races down Mos Espa aren't your thing. That's fine. But you know what? You can still have fun.
It's a big galaxy. It is a very, very big galaxy, and some of it is dumb.
Yeah,
that's just reality. It's just real.
You're right.
There's a lot of dumb things out there.
Yeah. Like a bantha.
Yeah.
Like a bantha. Oh, I like that. I like that.
All right, let's dive into a little bit of Shadows Empire. I won't go through the whole overview here, but just some interesting notes. Originally, that was going to be between A New Hope and Empire. They decided instead to go for Empire, between Empire and Jedi. Of course, that led to a problem. Han Solo's frozen in carbonite. So who do you replace him with? Well, they bring in Dash Rendar. And
Lando?
Right? It's fair.
But okay.
And Shadows Empire officially canonized Coruscant, even though Coruscant was brought up in the Zahn books. This is, I guess, the first time it was brought in there before the re-releases. So you had that. There's a novel comic series. I did not read the novel or the comics outside of the ones that were packed in with the deluxe figures. Mm-hmm. Did either of you read the comics? Were they good? Like, was it a fun read?
I remember that. Don't remember anything. I bought them. I don't remember anything about them really.
Okay.
Well, I think the big thing with this is because they did that whole like multimedia launch with this. Everything that you're reading or playing is from a different character's point of view.
Sure.
So the comics were, I believe were Boba Fett, Luke and Leia were the novel. The video game was Dash Rengar.
Yeah.
Right. But it all intertwined, but you were playing or reading from different characters' point of views. And that's
what was it like to because I didn't experience it that way. I didn't have an N64. I still was rocking a Genesis. Like what was it like to experience that story across these different like forms of media? Like was it an enjoyable experience? Like or was it kind of forced? Did it feel forced?
No. Well, for me again, I'm young, right?
Sure.
So, and it's new. So to me, everything was just exciting. Like getting a toy line out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a video game where you get to replay Hoth for no reason because Dash Rengar was not in that. But you know what I mean? But even still, like just getting to play like an N64 Hoth battle was like amazing. And then just you got a novel. Like I said, there's the soundtrack that they made for the novel.
Yes.
Which to me was just like, they do this, and now that's like a common practice.
That's wild, right? It's in the research composed by Joel McNeely using cues and pieces from John Williams' music, and he scored it based off of the book. I've never listened to it. Is it a good? You have it. You showed it here on the thing.
Have you played the N64 game?
I haven't. I wasn't. I gotta go get this game now. I probably should have got it
because some of the score is in the game as well.
Okay.
Right. So and it's good. I mean, it's good. like Star Wars music. Yeah, it's great. But they had like all the cool artwork in the inside. Like the booklet is what's made it like.
Well,
awesome,
show
right?
it. This is a.
You just in the back, like you get your first kind of look at like that was. I remember that being like my first look at Coruscant.
Okay, he showed again. It was kind of glary there, just real quick. I didn't realize that.
Case is plastic.
There you go. No, that looks good.
Right.
Nice. That's cool.
So, you get a lot of that stuff. And like again, here it's got like the whole making of just shadows, right? And they talk about
that's cool.
Where they were going. Like it's legit, just like an explanation of every song of like, hey, this is what I was thinking about, and this is where my cues come from. And then they got like pictures of the orchestra doing it. Like it's. Man, I tell you, Star Wars did it totally different back then. They always went big at that time. Like I always,
it was an event.
It was an event, and they treated it as such. Like, I know the video game came out late. It was supposed to come out way sooner, but I mean, video games get delayed all the time.
Well, that was kind of the case with. I mean, this isn't an episode about N64, but like I think it only launched with like 1 or 2 games, and a lot of the games were delayed just because it was tough to put those out there. But still, it's so actually all those Star Wars games for N64. I haven't played Shadows of the Empire, but I have played the Pod Racer game and the Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron, yeah.
Because my couple of my friends had N64s, and those games I was just like, this is incredible.
We have reached the peak of video gaming. We can't go higher than this.
Look, that's all. It's all very true, and that was my experience. Was whether I cared for Shizor or Rendar or any of those characters, it was more like Boba Fett is in this. Luke is in this. Vader is in this. It was the Battle of Hoth. It was being able to see all of those things in that modern technology at the time. The N64 was just hot new video game system, and it was really great to be able to go through those 3-dimensional environments and fly a snowspeeder and all those other things. It was really exciting. And they definitely pulled out all the stops. The cover artwork on those comics, on the novels and stuff, that's movie theater poster quality art.
Yes,
it's not. I'm looking at some of it. Some of it's Hugh Fleming. I don't know if Drew Struzan did any of it. But,
so this one's Hugh Fleming for sure.
Yep, just fantastic stuff.
And like this is just a magazine cover, and they were pulling out all the stops. I have because at Star Wars Insider and Star Wars Galaxy magazine, they were like, this is the best thing you will ever read. You need to read this or you're not a Star Wars fan. And they started putting 1-800-TRUE-FAN on the back of the
That's amazing.
Right? Which I want to get on a shirt still, is that logo with like 1-800-TRUE-FAN.
Yeah. See, that fits your brand, though. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's where it started. Like when people are like, oh, you're not a real fan. I'm a true fan. And I'm like, oh, you read that off the back of a box. Like, how dare you? Right. So they did a lot of that. The Hildebrands, they were doing covers as well. Right. It's and again, like the rollouts were huge. It wasn't just Hasbro. It was like Applause.
Yes.
Galoob was doing the Micro Machine sets.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get a fold open head play set.
They did not.
But they did ships and they did figure sets and all that stuff. And it was amazing. John Knowles still designed all the ships and stuff. I don't know if that's in here somewhere.
I don't know if it is. I read through it. I don't remember seeing that, but that would track because it's all the same old Kenner, or a lot of the old Kenner people are working on this line. We had Toyota on last week, and
John Knowles at that time, he was full on ILM.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry.
Right. So, and he was a big part of like the ship designs and just all that stuff, which I think is like super awesome. So in these magazines, there's an interview with him as well. Howard Hoffman of Lucasfilm's vice president of licensing. He does a huge interview in this as well, talking about the breakdown.
Yeah, he's holding the ship.
Yeah, there he is. They were all very, very proud.
As they should be. As they should be. I think there's a lot of cool new designs in this.
Yes. And I still feel like there hasn't really been. I think they tried to do the same type of rollout with the High Republic. I feel like they really tried to do something with that. I feel like that kind of fell flat because more and more people as we go through time hate reading. So that is the thing. I'm gonna unbiggen myself there.
But it's almost like you kind of had one. This was like a perfect storm because it's not now where Star Wars is so oversaturated. This was like a perfect space to do it because this was the first kind of new Star Wars thing. And that's what kind of made it. It carried more weight because of that. If you brought this out now, I'd be like, who cares? Like no one would even care.
Yeah, well, they did, and no one cared. Right? Well, I think people are reading the High Republic, right? But they did the comics rollout. They didn't really do any toys, but then they tried doing the series, which was the Acolyte.
Yeah.
That went over like a wet fart in church. Right?
Right? Because that was a whole show. Like that whole show. And again, you can take out the the BS of that whole thing too. But like it was like that show would have been in such high regard and high esteem if it came out in 1996. It'd be like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever.
These twins are from the Force,
right? Would have been like, mind blowing. I haven't heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Tell me more.
Tell me more, right? Or even just the Stranger, like the moment we see that helmet and it's like he's butting lightsabers. Like, yes, come on. I don't know. I am not an Acolyte hater at all because there is stuff in there where I'm just like,
there's some very good stuff.
There is
very good stuff.
There really is. Is it perfect? No, but God, it had some really cool stuff.
And no,
but anyway,
you really have to either be stretching or under a microscope, like. If you really hate that show, that's on you. I think not on the show.
There's plenty to like about it. Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh,
agreed.
100%.
All right. Well, let's jump into anything else. Do you want to talk about this before we jump into the toy line? I think we covered it.
No, I just want to say, it was fun. And what a great, I remember this very fondly and it makes me very happy to talk about it. As you can tell, my energy is like perked right back up. I went from work to
well, let's raise that level even more. Let's take a look at the figures, starting with the basic figures. We had 5 basic carded figures with a purple blade or lightsaber on there, which is the coolest freaking thing ever. Before actually we look at the card, I have a couple carded examples here of the Shadows of the Empire card. That I went and bought today at my local toy shop.
Dude,
I love this variant. Purple is one of my favorite colors, but this introduced the holographic sticker, which would later become kind of the standard, right? And
these are
you have Dash Rendar, nice. And
now I'm calling him Dan Rengar.
Dan Rengar. And yeah, and yes, on the back, Dolers, it has your 1-800-TRUE-FAN.
It's a direct line to me. If you call it, I'll answer.
Tie that to a SIM card.
But yeah, I think, you know, we talked about how there's just a certain charm and how much we enjoy these, you know, Power of the Force 2 orange cards. But just when you saw these purple ones on the shelf, like, man, did it hit.
Hey, so because this, like, you have the Jedi Luke that's here. I've got the Han and Carbonite for those who are listening to the show, like, like real fans of Toy Geeks, like the OGs. Yeah, these figures were on the back of the Shadows card. In fact, they've even got the Shadows subline on the back of theirs. So for the longest time, even when I was a teenager, just because sometimes you don't know what's coming, like once variants came out, so I kept thinking that, like, well, I have this one, but I want the Shadow. I want this on the Shadows card. I always thought the hologram. The hologram of the Carbonite would have looked really sharp.
Yeah.
And I still, to this day, I'm not sure if one ever existed.
No, it absolutely did not.
No, it did not.
I'm sure you could do a custom one. Yours is definitely a Canadian card, because that looks like you have French and English.
Yep. Some parlez-vous français.
And
sure.
Yeah. And your bubble's different too on that one, I feel like.
It's well, she's thick. Right? And that's okay.
But tell me when you
first, because you've got, like, mine, you've got the corners. I think your corners at the top are a little different.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think I'm. Oh yeah. No. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we all going to just put our cards in front of our faces?
Through the corners. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't have a Hanukkah card. All right. So when you saw the purple cards, what did you think when you first saw them, Doel?
Oh, I can tell you exactly where I was.
Oh, there we go. All right. Where were you?
I was in Sears, Saskatoon. And so it was right by the toy area. At that point was on the bottom floor, by the doors, which were across the street from the theater.
Okay.
From the Cinema 6. And it was also right by, of course, the Sears photo area. Right? Go take your family. Oh, your kids are waiting take them to the toy department, right? So I remember it very clearly. And I remember, like, just kind of like walking through, because again, now I'm collecting Star Wars. Sears had Star Wars. And the first thing I saw was that Princess Leia in the Bosch costume. And I went, oh my God. And my dad was like, yeah, you're getting that. Because my dad enabled Star Wars. Like,
your dad, everyone's favorite dad in Toy Tuberville.
Yeah.
Kindest soul in the world, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was the first one that I found, and it was a big deal. Just because the card just looked so sharp in the purple. I still think this is my favorite out of the Power of the Force packaging.
I kind of agree. I think this is my favorite too, just because it was like, oh, we got something different going on here.
Well, and the hologram makes it premium, right? You know,
yes,
it's fancy. That is, they spent some money.
We'd already been conditioned to, like, the hologram cards being the chase cards or whatever, and
I don't want to make a distinction here. It's not hologram.
You're right.
It's
you're
holofoil.
Holofoil.
Okay. Right.
You're right. Please forgive me.
Hologram would truly have blown my mind.
Oh man, if they did hologram of them, like,
Holy
think
cow.
that.
Forget about it. But Leia's Bausch, I absolutely had to have her, because she was hitting at the same time as Luke Jedi and Han and Carbonite. And regardless of any feelings I had or did not have yet about Shadows of the Empire, I needed to have Leia as Bausch to go with the Return of the Jedi set.
Yep, 100%.
And I was so scared, Doel. We've talked about this quite a bit. I was very worried that I would miss a figure, because I was so afraid of having the original Kenner experience where you passed on a figure and you were never able to get it again. You know, oh, this is going to be the one. The one I miss is going to be the one that ends up being the figure that's worth $500 4 years from now. You know?
But just because I passed on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
The wild thing is, Dan, it's like you literally have that story where you passed a original Han and Carbonite.
Original Han and Carbonite. Yes.
Right. And
G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe were hitting at the time, and it was like, Star Wars is dead. I'm done with Star Wars. Nobody cares about Star Wars anymore. G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe are the future. It's like, I couldn't do that.
The same thing with the Ewoks cartoon when I was a kid, because at that time too, I was like,
who
I
cares?
could have had all the freaking Dulacs, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What was I thinking? I think another thing with this one, sorry, Jay, just one last thing on the like having to pick this one up in particular, because the Leia in Wave 1 wasn't even
so
on the
bad.
card.
Yes.
That I was like, oh, this is a Leia. I found a Leia.
Yeah.
And so it was also like another big deal. So it was like, you know, I know she's on the back of the card, but it already took me forever to find Princess Leia in the store. So now finding another one, but in a different costume on the purple card, I was just like, Kate, like it was exciting because it was like,
it was good because you're like, this Leia appropriately comes with a mask to cover up her face.
This face is better. This face is
much better. It is
than
so
the Anthony Kiedis.
Yes, so much better. The lipstick's a little hot, but you know.
Yeah.
But it is an improvement. But I agree, Dole. Like since the New Hope Leia was so hard to find, I remember it was just, and so there was the, oh my god, I got to get this Leia because again, who knows, we'll get another chance to get one.
Right.
And but I absolutely adore these cards. So much fun. All right, let's jump into the figures. Let's kick things off with Chewbacca. And hopefully I'm not moving on too fast for Danny. Might be getting some more figures in his room right now. But no, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. Chewbacca in Bounty Hunter disguise. Chewbacca with a flat top. What was our thoughts on this figure?
Yeah,
I think Dad's already he's feeling the same way I am.
Here's my thing is that I was conditioned, I was born from Star Wars as filtered through the 70s, not as filtered through the 90s. And this suit, this outfit, this interpretation of Chewbacca could not have been more 90s. They had thrown like 17 more pouches on him. I think his belt's got a bunch of pouches on it. I can't tell for sure from that picture.
Yeah,
but
it does.
Like,
no, it's got pouches.
It just reeks of try hard. It reeks of like, everybody's going to the party and Chewbacca's like, I'm finally going to show him. Yeah, I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be so cool. Cuts his hair. He's got a little cape on his belt, new bandolier. Everything's all teched out and stuff. And everybody's just like, oh my God. I cannot believe he did that.
Yeah, here's the thing that threw me off with this. This is where I started to become that little bit of a nitpicky fan. Because I was like, well, this leads into Jedi. Wouldn't his hair be short in Jedi? Yes. And so I was starting to like, I know it's such a dumb thing to think about.
It's not though. I thought the same thing.
You don't know how fast Wookiee hair grows.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's true. And I was like, because I still think if you part this in the middle to do that Return of the Jedi Chewbacca hair, like Kurt Cobain hairstyle,
the hair part, for Jedi,
it still needed to be. His bangs were still longer. But man, Dan nailed it on the head. This is like the armband, the shoulder pads.
Yes.
Is he like dyed? Did he dye his fur?
Yes, he has
like
dark
camo print or something.
Yes, he has dark swatches that he apparently dyed. But maybe it's like a quick washout dye, hair dye.
Either way, Chrysanthemum was very offended.
Like, I can see them like they walk out of the two dressing rooms. Leia like changed her outfit, and then Chewbacca walks out like this. Like, whoa, okay, well, you committed. You committed to some things there.
Lando comes out. I'm just wearing a mask.
Chewbacca took it as an opportunity to explore some things.
Yeah, he's like, Han's not here to judge me, so I can
exactly. That's what it is. Han's not there to judge.
Yeah. Finally beat me.
Yeah, he's looking at R2 showing him pictures of all the stuff he missed, and he's like, Chewie, what are you doing?
Good for you. Good
Too much
Yeah,
fun.
good for you.
His accessories were kind of crazy too. He had this insane axe.
Yeah.
Which was a ton of fun.
I don't even remember. What is his bounty hunter name?
Oh,
It
yeah,
should
this
say it
is
right there. No,
Chewbacca
Chewbacca as Snuva. Snuva was his
Nuva.
Snuva, and that's the other part of it was his stupid bounty hunter name, Snuva. Snoova. It should say
Hey,
that,
people can make fun of Disney era Star Wars all they want.
Yes, right.
But don't forget, we got Snuva.
Yeah. Awful.
Oh my god. Amazing. All right, let's keep moving on here to Dash Rendar, our Han Solo replacement.
Substitute Han Solo. Hybrid Han Luke. Yeah.
So what were our Dash Rendar thoughts, maybe as a character, but also as an action figure? Dolers, you can go first on this one.
Oh, okay. So before I knew the term, I was already like, this is a dollar store Han. Just because I know he was different
Wish
than Han.
version.
Like if you read the comics and everything else, he is a different character than Han.
Sure.
But I felt he was still, to me, like even super hyped about all of this Shadows of the Empire stuff. I honestly thought they were going to use Lando Calrissian as a bigger character. Like this is our time to kind of really flesh out Lando.
Yeah.
I've always been super interested in Lando. Like I even have like the old novels, like the Lando Calrissian Chronicles and stuff. Lando is such an interesting character, so I kind of thought we were going to get more. And then they kind of said, "Well, how about Dash Rengar, another white dude?" And I was kind of like, didn't realize that really at the time. It's something you realize when you're older.
Sure.
But it's like, I was kind of like, well, because I didn't get this figure till way later in life too.
I didn't have a Dash Rendar. I did not have him either.
I didn't really, outside of the video game, because you don't really see him. You're playing first person, right? So
yeah,
you can sit there and pretend it's whoever you want him to be while you're playing the game. He could be you, he could be Lando, he could be Han, he could be whoever.
Sure.
But man, I have to say, like even just the design, the quilted thighs and the
so 90s. This might as well be Cable. If you told me Rob Liefeld designed this, I would say obviously.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. So he wasn't really my jam. Even still, it's like if they said, "Oh, we're doing a TVC figure of Dash Rengar," I'd probably still get it, just out of nostalgia.
I think that's yes. Yeah.
Right. But I can't say I'm sitting there going, God, I hope they make. I know there's a lot of people wanting Dash Rengar right now, especially Black Series collectors.
Are you saying Rengar?
It's Rendar.
Rendar.
I am saying Rengar. Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it go.
I was like, maybe it's a Canadian variant thing. I don't
know. I just like that's how much I care. I
don't know. He's the Transformers guy.
Rengar. Who is Rengar? There is a Rengar.
Well, I don't know. I will say I gave Dash Rendar a little bit more credit when Mandalorian came out, because I never liked this gun rig thing that he has. I never really understood what it did. But then Bill Burr's character, who I can't remember his name right now, he had that sort of gun arm thing that like popped out from behind him. And I was like, okay, now that I've sort of seen it in action, in live action, I guess I can kind of give this a little bit more credit.
Yeah.
But again, that took 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I held a grudge. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I it's funny you bring that up. Like I had no desire to have this figure. I was like all in on Power of the Force 2, and I got every single Shadows of the Empire figure except for this one, just because I was like, you're not my dad. You're not Han Solo. Like, I don't need you. Like, what are you doing here? and
we're not there yet, but his ship was absolutely very Falcon adjacent.
Oh yes.
A little too much.
Yeah.
But there you go, Dash Rendar. Let's keep going here. Let's go to
Mix Mayfeld is the name you're looking for, Dan.
Thank you.
Migs Mayfeld. Yes, good call. Anything else you want to say about Leia? I think we already kind of covered our Leia stuff, but anything
I did like that she had the thermal detonator in her hand. There are times that stuff like that happens, and I'm like, you took away functionality. She can't hold anything with it now, but it made sense for Leia, and it was just such a cool update. compared to the vintage figure, which is one of my favorite Star Wars figures. I love that vintage figure. This was just a fantastic update to it.
Yeah, and again, just the improvement on the head sculpt, and it just looked great. It didn't
cape that keeps falling off.
Yes, true. I glued mine in.
Nice. Smart.
I went
Good call.
Super glue. I just contact cemented that thing right in, and I was like, never again.
But this was the first one that I got, similar to Doell, like just the anxiety around the first Leia trying to get her, and then also just like this is the one, just like it didn't need to be a Shadows of the Empire toy. It could have easily been one of the orange cards,
but it was used so much in the promotional art.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
it's a cool look. It's a great
look.
Which is
why I'm surprised they never did Luke Skywalker in that yellow vest.
Right.
That's true.
The quilted
to this
vest.
day, we don't have one. Do we?
Yeah.
Have they ever made one?
I think they made one in Black Series, didn't they?
Did they do one in Black Series? They did do one in Black Series.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if they did one in a comic 2-pack at some point 10 years ago.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Because I know they did Leia and Shizor, and she's wearing that dress that you see in all the promo stuff there too.
Yeah.
Right. Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. Let's go to Luke Skywalker in his own disguise, an Imperial Guard disguise. I got this one. It's again a very 90s kind of suit, but kind of stormtrooper-ish. What do we think of the Luke in Imperial Guard disguise? Dan's got his stink face. Dan, what's your thoughts?
One, they brought back that terrible head sculpt. That they brought
did.
back that same stupid terrible head sculpt. To like, I don't know if I can articulate what the Star Wars aesthetic is. I can only say I know what it's not. And to me, this was not. Even then, it just did not feel like Star Wars to me. It felt too much like superhero comic book. And that just did not merge with the world of Star Wars to me. And as far as I know, we've yet to see this particular outfit in any kind of more realistic interpretation. I think they, again, just did it in Black Series. Or it hasn't come out yet, maybe, but we haven't seen it in a TV show, in a movie, anything like that, or even like a full cinematic video game type of, realistic rendered scene,
or animated.
So it doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. I do appreciate that, again, they gave you a helmet to cover up that head. So, I did get it. I got all these figures. I bought it. I liked anything that comes with a removable helmet. I'm going to grab that. But it was definitely not my favorite figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I still don't own this figure to this day.
Interesting. Okay.
And again, too, I think at the time I didn't realize it either, but it was just something that didn't connect with me. Right. Like I would rather have Return of the Jedi Luke.
Absolutely.
Or
if you had the two on the shelves, you're going to pick this one for sure. Yeah.
100%. And at that time too, like we were getting, like you said, we talked about it earlier, Dagobah Luke, Dagobah training Luke. Like you put all these Lukes there. This is not going to be, regardless of how beautiful the card is, this is not going to be my first choice.
Yeah. He doesn't come with a lightsaber. Like, what have we been doing here?
Yeah, I would get the Power of the Force deluxe figure Luke probably before I grab this one.
The one with the skiff thing?
The skiff, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I want that Boba Fett giant backpack thing. I want that to show up in Book of Boba Fett Volume 2.
This figure also did, and Leia's there too, but this one a step further, because Leia was already a figure we'd seen. We'd already seen Bausch. We'd seen her in the costume in Return of the Jedi. This helped to reinforce this idea that a big part of Star Wars storytelling is stealing costumes to infiltrate the enemy, right? Like, I don't remember exactly where this particular outfit plays in, but if you don't know anything about it, you look at him and you say, oh, okay, we're doing Luke in a stormtrooper outfit again. Like, there's no new ideas. We're rehashing things. And then, we come back to that over the next 30 years, as far as anytime a new Star Wars thing comes out, there's always this costume stealing element. There's this uniform, kind of thing that happens up until the most recent things,
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, back to Mick Mayfeld.
Yes, right. Yes.
But this is so 90s of that idea. Just like, okay, that Luke stole a stormtrooper costume, right?
What if he did it again?
But it was extreme. Shoulder blades, extreme shoulder blades. And red. All right. Let's go to the last figure on the regular release. Prince. Is it Zizor?
I think it's Shizor.
Yeah, I always said Shizor.
Yeah.
What was our seashore?
By the seashore?
What was our thoughts on this character, a new character, in kind of the big bad of Shadows of the Empire? What was our thoughts there on him?
Well, that's just shaking his head at every figure that's popping up except for one.
Like I wanted to give it its room to breathe, to be itself, and whatever. I dread the thought, if the internet existed at the time, if I was on YouTube at the time, or anything like that, what I might have said. I would have been one of those stupid toxic fans that's just like, this sucks. I hate everything. Star Wars is the worst thing that ever happened. Blah blah blah. Take it away from George Lucas. Oh, he doesn't have it. Give it back to him. It just wasn't for me, and I didn't like this character. I didn't like the character design. I didn't like that. In order to give him credibility, you have to tie him to Darth Vader. Even if it made sense in world, I just was like, can we just put him on the other side of the galaxy and have absolutely nothing to do with Darth Vader? And I still feel that way about a lot of Star Wars stuff. It's like, I love any of the Star Wars things that kind of stay. I love Andor because it's not touching the Jedi. It's not touching those types of the mystical things. It's dealing with a different pocket of Star Wars. And I feel like we could have gotten into the Black Sun and the crime and all that other stuff without having to connect him to Darth Vader.
Yes. Agreed.
Yep.
Like it's just this sort of like credibility a parasite,
But a lot of Star Wars suffered from that back then for sure. Like I think it still kind of does. Like everything has to. Absolutely. Like even Mando, eventually we got back to Luke, right? Like
and that's the thing. It's like, why is a Skywalker family have to be involved in every damn thing?
Right? Like even though that moment was amazing in Mandalorian season 2,
it was great.
Amazing. But at the same time, you're just like, did we really need to see him training Grogu so soon? Anyway, I digest. We're not going to get into that. That's not this episode. That's for another time.
Shizor.
I am with Dan in this. I remember reading this and being, he didn't need to be tied so closely to Darth Vader, but I love the idea that we got to see some other underground factions outside of the Hutts. And that to me is where I was like, I am down with this character, except like I can forget all the tie-in stuff to Vader, but give me more about the Black Sun. I want to know what these guys are about and how they got into power. And I've always wanted to see that. Like we hear about mobs that fight and gangs that fight. And I still feel like they haven't really even scratched the surface with that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
they kind of got into it a little bit with Book of Boba Fett,
and they got into a little bit of it in the Clone Wars cartoon.
Yeah.
Right. But we never really because that's where Shizor kind of comes into canon, or at least the cartoons are canon to me. And so we see the Black Sun become part of that world in the Clone Wars cartoon. And I was like, oh, sweet. And we kind of get to see them kind of work with the separatists and them doing their dirty dealings.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to see like more. Like I wanted to see a full on like Black Sun versus Crimson Dawn versus the Hutts, and there's like a power struggle. There's a or what's the other one? What's the fish people get? The Pikes.
The Pikes, yes.
Right? Even though I find the Pikes to be like, hang on. I'm not getting there. I'm not going to go there. Then we're going to keep this episode short and tight. We'll talk about the Pikes another day. That's
a special spin-off episode.
Doell Outworld. But I do like the idea of Shizor. I like the Black Sun. But again,
I like his design. I didn't mind. I was like, it's kind of a cool looking bad guy, and I just took him at face value. I was like, yeah, he's another bad guy. But again, I didn't I didn't go too into the comics or anything really, so I didn't have like some.
Yeah, but Jay, that makes sense because when we last episode 2 episodes ago, when we were talking about sort of how did Empire feel, how did Return of the Jedi feel to a kid who was seeing those things for the first time at the time.
Yeah,
like I specifically said the same. You just took it at face value. It is what it was. They said, here's the next bad guys, here's the things that happen, and you go, oh, okay, cool.
Yep, exactly.
And so I believe that's where you were at with the mindset, whereas I was a jaded college kid, going, this George Lucas didn't do this. This ain't real. This ain't Star Wars. Whatever.
1-800 True Fan.
Open up my fold-out poster of Boba Fett again.
Yeah.
Oh man. So those are your main release figures. Let's talk about the comics multi-packs a little bit. We had a Boba Fett IG-88 2-pack. I did not have this set. Dan, as our resident Boba. Oh, look at there you go right there.
Oh, nice. Nice. I want those on card, man. I don't have those on card.
I almost said they were at the toy shop I was at today. They had both of these for $10. I was like, $10 is too much, but
it's a nice set. It was the first one that you had to get this to get IG-88.
Yeah.
It's the only IG-88 in Power of the Force 2, that one.
Yep. So you had to.
And it's basically a retooled vintage one.
It is very close to the vintage. I can't remember if it's exactly the same or if it's just a little bit off. I think it's just a little bit off.
Yeah, it's a few little differences, but I think they used the original in some form or fashion.
Because I think they actually did give him a waist too, a rotating waist.
But it's like just cut into him. It's like the laziest waist cut ever.
However, I think Wizard Magazine gave it like figure of the month regardless.
Yeah.
But if you look at the pictures of Rebel Scum, like literally you see they just cut, like they just have a little cut in his.
Yeah, but they at least Boba Fett does have some paint changes, and his jetpack is different.
Yes,
I think if I'm not mistaken, his pose. I can't remember if this pose is the same as the deluxe figure, or if it's the same as the single pack figure, because the deluxe figure has that
single pack.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely the straighter pose of the deluxe.
It is a straighter pose for sure.
Nope, that's the deluxe.
Yeah, not the most dynamic figure, but it worked.
Yeah, it did it. And then you had the She-Zor Darth Vader set. This was how I got my She-Zor. I didn't have the single carded one. I had this set.
Let them fight.
But it's just like he's gonna fight Vader with a lightsaber with a stick. Like I don't want to.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Dan's ripping his open right now. Hold on.
I just realized I don't have one of these loose. I don't know if this Boba Fett loose, so
live unboxing.
That's really funny. Yeah.
Oh man, this is such a lightweight. It is absolutely not like regular monthly comic quality.
Yeah, what is it, like 5 pages?
Stock.
What is that?
Well, it's not the same paper stock. This feels like almost like one step above toilet paper. Like it is thin and light. And that's not just from the age. It's just like, oh man, like this is like they call them floppies, but this is like floppier. This is super floppy. But yeah, this is definitely got some different paint deco. He doesn't have the circles on his gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And he has that sort of he has the paint the jetpack with no paint treatment on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got
totally
yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. You can go on. It's fine. I'm just kind of
enjoying this moment right now. So now we know.
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny. I think I was keeping it in the package, and then since we've been talking so much about how cheap you've been buying them for, I was like, wait, this doesn't $10.
Yeah.
Must be $10 to get another one of these things. I didn't even pay for this one. Like this one, somebody gave that to me. So.
First unboxing on the podcast. So there you go. All right.
I love that.
Happen here right now. Okay. This set is fine. Other than I always thought like, well, hey, what's She-Zor using here against this lightsaber? Like that's not going to stop the lightsaber. That seems silly.
I always felt that was like one of those sticks that you'd find from the trash compactor.
Yes, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So It's like, that's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna pull something out of the garbage. Like, I'll take them.
I'm just gonna poke him. Poke.
Yeah.
Well, and that's 30 years difference, right? Like at this point, we sort of again take it at face value that there are metals that can block lightsabers.
Sure.
We saw it.
Yeah.
We saw in the sequel trilogy that there were sort of like energy blades that weren't necessarily kyber crystal powered, but could stop lightsabers. And then now we've seen different kinds of metals that can just
Revenge of the Sith as well. Those droids with the batons fighting Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Right? So that's fun. So those are the comics multi-packs. Let's talk about the vehicles. First up is Boba Fett's Slave One, which is basically just re-release of the vintage one with a new deco, which is most of the vehicles early on here in the toy line. It also had the purple Shadows of the Empire version, and it was put in the green one as well in a later release. But did anybody get this version of the Slave One at the time? I know I did. This was how I found. This was my first.
I did not.
Yeah, I'm not sure which version I got.
I don't think I got any of the vehicles till like way later.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely had the Slave One. I do not remember which package I purchased it in.
Okay.
That one comes with some wide vision cards too. They're really pushing those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Dude, those are. I'm gonna start getting those again.
They're nice cards. They're real nice, and I think those are just the widescreen cards. But there's also those like lenticular, like sort of 3D cards. Those ones are real nice.
Yeah, very very nice.
Yeah, those were premium cards back then.
Oh yeah,
and they were nice.
But no, I was thick. Yes, I was very excited to get Slave One. I'd never had a vintage Slave One. So
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, it was very cool to get that. To actually have a Slave One to go with various Boba Fett's, vintage and modern. We've talked about how much that Han and Carbonite block is just bad, but you had the Power of the Force one, so it was fine. You could just throw that one there. It was like that ship kind of put the set together, so it was really nice for having that Empire Strikes Back representation.
Yeah,
and also this deco. Because I have a vintage original one.
Yeah, and it's just blank.
Right. It doesn't. It just has some stickers to give it some. This looks so much better.
So much better.
Than that vintage one. Yeah, great re-release there. All right, Dan, you already talked about a little bit. Dash Rendar's Outrider, Millennium Falcon Light.
It's a Millennium Falcon and a B-wing had a baby, right?
Yes, basically.
Which is an interesting idea, and it's it should fit fine within the language, the sort of visual language of Star Wars and mechanical design and stuff. I don't know. It just, to me, it all at the time, this is not me being retroactive, at the time it felt very cynical to me. It felt very, we need to make this guy kind of like Han Solo and his ship kind of like the Millennium Falcon, because Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon aren't going to play as a main role.
Which is wrong, because we had Lando and the Falcon still.
I know.
Right? Exactly. You could have still had the Falcon.
Hey, John Knowles is going to be at Celebration in Japan. We're just going to ask him what's up.
There we go. Yes.
Corner it. Talk about Shadows of the Empire.
Elevator.
bonus episode. We'll all three be there. We'll just go up. Guerrilla documentary style.
Yeah. Excuse me, Mr. Knowles. Tell us about the Outrider. What were you thinking? He'll appreciate it.
But again, that's on me, because if you consider that the Millennium Falcon, I can't remember the name of the company that made it, but it was a ship.
Corellian, right?
And it's Corellian. That's the sort of nationality.
Oh, okay.
But that's not the manufacturer. It's like a YT-17 or whatever.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Somebody made that ship. Lando bought that ship from. He didn't make that ship. He didn't have it custom made to his. Maybe the engines, the interior, whatever. But that was a mass production ship. These Millennium Falcons all over the galaxy. They're just not called Millennium Falcon. So it makes sense that there are different variations to that ship design and whatever else. But at the time, being a cool teenager in college, I was like, you should have come up with something different.
Okay.
I thought this was too small.
That was my thing with it. Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I thought it was too small. Would you?
Yeah.
Because we're getting into the size. Size matters in these ships. If they HasLabbed this, would you go for it? Would you back an Outrider HasLab?
But even then, I mean, how big is it actually supposed to be? Is it as big as the Millennium Falcon?
That's
I think it's just the shape is so close, right? That I just assumed that it was.
That's the problem with it, because even though I didn't really care about Dash Rendar, I thought, just as a kid, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It is just a B-Wing and the Millennium Falcon had a baby. I was like, that's kind of fun. But when I had a friend that had one, I was like, oh, this is like a baby's toy. It's so tiny. Like, what is this? It's itty bitty. And that was
this is the Happy Meal version, right?
It really is.
Right.
Like, there's a picture here of like the actual Dash Rendar figure next to it. He's almost as big as the whole damn ship. It's and so that was my big problem with it. His little cockpit that he has to like sit in, he like has to be shoved in there like a little tube or something. Not
Chewie, so help shove me into this cockpit.
Yes. Like the rest of the ship is unusable. That's kind of my big beef with, or at least was. And then that's it. There were no plays. Oh, it was the swoop. Sorry, the last one.
There's the swoops,
I really dug the swoop. I thought this was a really fun speeder bike. I loved this figure. I thought it was just kind of cool.
Yes.
Sure. I thought it was a really neat figure. I just had a lot of fun with this as a toy. Dan, what was your thoughts of the swoop?
Figure's awesome. Love the figure. I thought he was a very nice addition to the sort of world of Star Wars. Interesting enough to make him unique, but sort of generic enough that he was just like a guy you could imagine. And this all was happening around the same time as the special editions, and you get that shot of that new sort of tracking shot into Mos Eisley, and a guy rides by, a little swoop, and the Ronto rears back and all that stuff. So it all fit nicely. I don't really like the design of this swoop. It's got that giant mega missile launching cannon on the side, which didn't work for me.
That very
but otherwise
Kenner
it's very and I get it. It's toy and playability and all that stuff, but it just, as a cool college kid, it just wasn't working for me. I got it. I had it. I definitely owned it. But I was like, give me just a regular speeder bike.
I do have to ask, Dan, you in the past on other toys, you have not been a fan of asymmetry. Was that it for you? It was just
I'm sure that was part of it, yeah. But I think it was more just this giant missile, this wing of a giant missile hanging off the side.
It's fair. Dolars, what was your thought?
I always liked this, but for the same reason, because you saw swoop bikes in the special edition. And then but I never did have this. I still don't have it. But set. Now I just realized I got to go find one. Luckily, there's a toy show in Vancouver this weekend.
Perfect.
So I'm going to go hunting for it. But yeah, because now I need this to help complete the telling of my story of the return to Tatooine based on Star Wars Entertainment from Hasbro. So I need that so it can be parked outside my cantina doors.
And with no floors, so that'll be great.
Dude, I sell my own floors.
Right.
Can I just say, just a quick aside, that the Emmett Otter jug band thing was really funny, but your floor bit in this year's Jeffrey's Chef's Kiss, it was so good.
It's like the moment that whole conversation started about floors, I was like, I know my Jeffrey skit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other one was good too. The salesperson, the cowboy or whatever it was.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Jay Keys
at NECA.
Yeah.
Or the Jay Keys one.
Jay Keys was great because he had that song in there. It's so good.
Yes.
Because it just goes off the rails, right? Like
you're like shooting the prices and stuff, and
then that one went up. Like gasping. It's just like it goes everywhere. It's so good.
But I still have your commitment to that 90s or 80s style like floor emporium thing. It was so good.
All I had to do was explain to Brandon what I wanted, and he was just like, I know exactly what it needs. And he was just like, and we set up the green screen and we just went for it.
So good. All right, that's it. There is the entire line. Quick and easy. Look at that. We did it.
I honestly thought there was more than that. That's crazy.
It feels like there's more because so much came out at that time.
I think I'm mixing it up with the other extended universe stuff, the like Dark Empire or whatever it was, because you had like the Clone Emperor, and it's not
right.
Is it Dark Empire? You know what I'm talking about. There's like evil Luke,
heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire. Yeah.
Right.
Whatever. But that was
I also
like,
just realized I've been saying Dengar dash Dengar. That's what I'm mixing up with there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dengar and Rengar. Dengar and Render. Rendar.
Rengar.
Oh boy.
See, now you're doing that. My apologies. But I know but Heir to the Empire and like a lot of those books, they did get figures, but in Micro Machines. So I could see where all of that would get mixed in there as well. Like even like Shadows didn't get a lot of Micro Machines, but I mean they still got them. And like I said, they had the big applause rollout with the vinyl figures, ceramic mugs, little PVC characters, all that kind of stuff. Like they went hard on Shadows, and
they did.
Bless them, it worked out.
Yeah, it is Dark Empire because there's a Luke, a Leia, an
Emperor,
the space trooper, whatever he is, the Imperial Guard, the Royal Guard.
What year is that?
I don't know. It's got to be coming up soon.
Yeah,
got it. I think it says
98.
98.
Okay.
98.
98. The ones with the little fold out cards.
Yep. 3D 3D placing. Those hit with the special editions. The ones you're talking about, they got the little like the character who they were, or before who they are now. That sort of thing. You had that preview of the actors, the characters young and old. But no, this is 98 to coincide with Dark Empire comics.
Hey, spoiler alert for when you get to Dark Empire. Exactly. One of those that I think the Royal Guard is based off a Kenner design for what Kenner was going when they were planning to expand, do their own expanded universe after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So it's a little fun fact.
Fun fact.
Allison Troy's gonna be like, "That's wrong." She's gonna correct me.
Well, speaking of Allison, she did put together some slides just to kind of add some the Shadows of the Empire N64 game. Great cover on that. Cover. So nice. And then we got some cross-sell promotional
from Toy Fair.
Yeah, from Toy Fair, which is great. And we got the Outrider looking a little bit cooler there than that looks bigger than what we ended up getting but whatever.
Yeah, from what I can see, it's basically supposed to be the same size as the Falcon.
Yeah, so that was a big undersell.
It's too bad they didn't do a snow speeder in the purple box.
Oh yeah, because I guess it starts with Hoth. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we have some concept stuff here for the original figures. I'm glad they didn't go with green on Shadows of the Empire. The purple's way better than the green, even though they eventually went with green.
Like that little electrical stripe in there, though. I do.
That's fun.
That. Yeah.
And some more concept for his
they're just about did his ship.
Yeah.
She's our ship.
She's your ship shore.
She's your ship. Ah! And then who is this person? I don't know who this person is.
This is Shizor's bodyguard. She's a droid, but in typical 90s fashion, she's a droid with cleavage. And
whatever that gun is.
Yeah.
So 90s.
That she got that from The Mask, I believe.
Oh, okay. There you go. Good to know. All right, just real quick. Name that original retail price. Basic figures are about the same, $4.99. Thoughts? How much were the comics 2-packs?
Well, I'm gonna guess $8. $8. Yeah, I'm gonna say $10. $10.
10. Okay, dollars.
Yeah, I was about to go for the same. So I'm gonna go with the Canadian price of $12.99.
Original retail price $10.99, and you can still get them for $10.99 today. Swoop Bike.
8. Yeah, probably a little lower. $8. Yeah.
$9.99. Dash Rendar's Outrider.
$12.99.
It's small, yeah. So I don't know, 15.
$21.99.
Ooh,
that nerd.
Was it electronic?
No. It just sort of rotates. It's got that B-wing kind of rotation thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but there was no like pew pew pew.
Nope.
No electronic. No, nothing.
Boba Fett Slave 1.
All right, that's got to be at least 20.
Yeah, that's a big one.
$29.99. 30.
You know what though?
Dollars.
Worth it.
Yeah, but just for inflation, that's like, I don't know, $80. That's
yeah, it's steep.
Hey, nothing's changed.
That's fair. That's fair. And then the N64 game, just for fun.
$79.99.
I don't think it was that much. It was gonna be more like 50.
$69.99. Good lord.
That's close. Maybe that was the Canadian price, but I remember it being like N64 games, just video games in general back then. In the 90s,
was so much
expensive,
like,
and we're back to it.
Yeah,
we get to relive that.
$80. So adjusted for inflation, an N64 game was $142 for one game.
Damn,
that's nuts. Well, that is it, gentlemen. Final thoughts, Dan. Final thoughts on Shadows of the Empire.
It's fine. It's fine. Look, if you like it, awesome. I can't even really give an opinion on it as far as the substance of the story and the thing, because I really didn't like take it all in. So I really don't know for sure.
Okay.
I appreciate that it brought me a lot of the things that I wanted from Empire Return sort of era, whether it was vehicles or figures or those sorts of things. And yeah, it's, its legacy has lasted. There's definitely people out there who love it and consider it just as much a part of Star Wars as anything else, and that's neat.
All right, cool. Dollars.
My nostalgia says this is the greatest thing Star Wars has ever done. As an adult, thinking back retroactively, I think it's fun. I think this was bold. I wish more things could do this, like just not just Star Wars, but just franchises or just something new, whatever, just doing that multi-platform. I know that's super hard to do these days, and I think that's something that would be very difficult to do now. But man, at that time, and they swung for the fences and they hit a home run with it. So huge props for them doing it at all. And I got nothing but fond memories of it. So you know what? You'll never hear me. I'll have my nitpicks, my adult nitpicks looking back on it. But I loved it. And I had so much fun. So I'm always going to have fond memories. Super happy with it.
Awesome. Love it. Same for me. Like, again, I was just like, hey, it's new Star Wars stuff. It's cool. I'm down for it. Even though I wasn't like you do. I didn't like dive really into it. I was just kind of like, hey, new toys. And
I'm just picturing Jay as little Anakin in episode 1. Whee!
That's basically it.
Now this is toy collecting.
Yeah, exactly.
How old was Jake? Whatever in that.
I'm a collector, and my name is Jay.
I had a very similar haircut to Jake Lloyd in that film. I'll have to get a picture of myself. I had the bowl cut and everything. All right. On that note, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks to Allison Troy, who does our research. Dan, anything big coming up for you? We got, I guess, celebration coming.
I mean, at this moment right now, I think we're recording this 2 weeks before it actually airs.
Yeah, so I think this is our celebration episode.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with our show as well, Secret Galaxy. Just banking a couple episodes so we can go because we are like 10 days out, 11 days out, I think, from me leaving. I don't remember when you're leaving, but heading out soon.
Soon. Yep.
Dollars, how about you? Anything big coming up on your channels and stuff ahead of celebration?
2 weeks off. There'll be nothing. Maybe Gotham City Tonight. I think Alex is sticking around, right? So I think I think him and Peter are going to do a Mondo takeover.
Ooh, fun.
Gotham City Tonight, which I think is I think that's totally fun. They'll probably reveal something without me just in spite.
Probably show off Nightcrawler. They'll probably show off Robin or something.
Yeah, they'll totally do that. 100% they will. Like, it just, and that's what friends do. That's how I know they're my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
So be tuned in for that. I mean, even the last episode we talk about Nightcrawler, and we both unboxed Poison Ivy, and Alex unboxes a Scarecrow. And he again, I think that's one great thing about Gotham City Tonight. When we talk about Mondo figures, he sculpts them, so we get to have the whole breakdown and history and what he looked at and what episodes he watched. So if you like that sort of thing, and the real like nitty gritty of toy making over at Mondo. That's the show's
Super
probably
cool.
up your alley.
Brewer's he's one of the best doing it right now. So
He's
a
a
real
rock star.
coup that you have him on your show every single week. So definitely subscribe to that if you haven't yet. All right, folks, that's gonna do it. We'll see you all next time. Hasta luego and goodbye.
Later.